Start over again. So good morning, everybody. I'm Sandra Valle, Assistant Director for CalSoap Los Angeles. I'll be presenting today with my colleague, Kimberly Gomez. I'll let her introduce herself in just a moment. But I just wanted to give you guys a brief overview of today. So we are going to, we have a presentation on college match and fit. And really it's about like, how do you pick the colleges and universities you should be applying to. And then afterward, we're going to be able to help those of you who are on here and ready. So those of you 12th graders who have questions, or maybe you've already started your college applications, especially your UC or CSU applications. There's several of us on here who are going to be more than happy to help you with that after. So we'll get started. So again, Sandra Valle, this is College Match and Fit. Oh, sorry. Presenters again, Sandra Valle, I'm the assistant director. I went to Cerritos College, then I transferred to UC Santa Cruz where I got my bachelor's in feminist studies. And most recently I got a master's of educational counseling from the University of Laverne. And I'll let my colleague Kim introduce herself.
Hello everyone, my name is Kimberly
Kim,
Gomez.
your sound's off. There we go.
Can you hear me now?
No.
No?
I can hear you perfectly fine, Kim.
Yeah, I can hear you as well.
Here.
Oh.
I'll give you a minute. I'm not sure. Yeah.
So other people can hear me, but not Sandra?
No sound. Oh, more technical difficulties, the joys of technology. It's okay.
Hold on. Well, no? I don't know. It's weird because everyone can hear me except Sandra. So
we'll come back. If not, like let me know and I can keep going. So don't worry. We'll go from there. But again, sorry. This is Kimberly Gomez. She is one of our first year persistence specialists. She works, as you can tell by her title, with first year college students. So definitely we'll share that link out once. For those of you who are going to be graduating soon or are maybe already are in college, she's a great resource. She's available for one-on-one advising, as well as she does her own webinars and group events. She's currently a graduate student at USC, also working on her educational master's, educational counseling degree, and a recent alum of Cal State Northridge. So yay, congrats, Kimberly, on that one. So we'll get started. So.
Can you hear me now, Sandra?
Our mission. So again, CalSoap LA, we are a program of the California Student Aid Commission. And really our program, that's a lot of words, really our program and our goal is to help first generation underrepresented students properly graduate from high school and really plan and have success in their post-secondary options. So notice I'm not saying college or university. We are going to obviously specifically today, we're talking about college and university, but post-secondary could be any kind of career training, really any choices you have after high school. And so we just want to make sure our goal is to really assist the students that we work with in knowing all of the information and being able to make the best decisions for themselves. Oh, that's weird. Apparently I can't hear Kim.
Sandra, can you hear me? I wonder if it's just Kim.
Okay. Want to try again, Kim?
You can hear us.
Yay, I can hear now. Thank you.
Now?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, you weren't, I had my earphones on and everyone could hear me except you.
I'm sorry, you guys, it's been a morning. But do you want to say something before we jump into the presentation?
Yeah, just shortly. I did attend Pasadena City College and I transferred to Cal State Northridge. I was also a commuter student. So definitely for those of you who are potentially going to be transfer students or going to commute, I can definitely provide some resources for you.
Awesome, thank you. So again, we'll be sharing out that information a little bit later. So back to our slides. So before I get into it, I know most presentations are really about like us giving you all information, right? And trying to answer all of your questions. This presentation and this topic is a little different. It's actually about us giving you questions. And it's actually about us asking you a lot of questions and giving you a lot of things to think about so that you can make the best decision for yourself. And ultimately, we actually don't have the answer. So that's sort of the funny thing. We don't have the answer, you do, but we're going to hopefully help you narrow down what your answers are. So again, if we're talking about college or university, there are so many options. Where can we go? Right? We have first 4-year, 2-year, we have private public universities. We have liberal arts, community arts, large schools, small schools. Do you want to live at home? Do you want to live in a dorm? Do you want to live off campus? Even bigger questions. Do you want to stay local? Do you want to go East Coast, West Coast, Midwest? Again, so many questions and so many options. And we are here to help you kind of hopefully figure all of that out. So let's see. What is college match? So when I'm talking about college match, really simply put, match refers to the likelihood that a college university will admit a student based on grades, test scores, and other academic requirements. Again, simply put, do you meet the requirements for admission? Are you the kind of student that the college or university is looking for? That's what match refers to. It's really the likelihood that the university will want to accept you and will want to offer you admission. Fit is selecting a college university based on an individual student's social, academic, and financial need. If you see there, that second box, it's all about me, the student. One size does not fit all. When you're making a choice about not only where to apply, but ultimately where to attend college or university, it really is a very personal decision, and it really is all about the student. Because and the question should be, where is the student going to succeed? Where is the student going to have the best experience in terms of what they are looking for, right? And so it is all about me, the student. What do I need? How do I learn? What am I comfortable with? At the same time, what am I also wanting to be challenged by? Because we all grow through challenges. And so this is what really we're going to be talking about more than anything today is fit. What is the best fit? One size does not fit all. Name brand is not everything. We're in Los Angeles, right? And I'm sure the first thing you think of when I say colleges in LA, most people immediately say the big two, UCLA, USC. And then when you start, if you live here, you already know, oh, we have Cal State LA, we have Cal State LA. We have all these amazing options. But just because it has a big name school doesn't necessarily mean it's the right fit for you. It also doesn't mean it's going to have the right programs for you. So we're going to get into that in a minute. So admission requirements. This is pretty basic, but ultimately, if you're applying to a college, you want to make sure you meet the minimum requirements in order to be considered and hopefully get accepted, right? So obviously these are questions you need to ask yourself and you need to research to ensure that you know what the admission requirements are. Are they requiring tests? I can tell you right now, the UC and CSU systems currently are test blind this year. So you do not have to take the SAT or ACT test to apply this year. Some programs and some universities, mostly private, will require students to submit letters of recommendation. So who can write those letters of recommendation? It's always recommended that you ask somebody who knows you well, a teacher, it could be somebody in your community, maybe not necessarily a family member, but somebody who knows you well, who's known you as a student and maybe even outside of school a little bit more, and who can write a letter for you, but also you want to be nice and give them at least 2 to 3 weeks to be able to write that letter for you. And there are some programs, so if you're applying to the CSU or the UC system, and you're going to apply to the Educational Opportunity Program, the EOP program, they require letters of recommendation. So hopefully, and some scholarships do as well. So that's something to think about. But do you know what the A through G requirements are? And most students should already know that because it is essentially your high school graduation requirements now. But it's the mandate around, making sure you have at least 3 years of math, at least 4 years of English, right? 1 year of a lab and things like that. Those are not just the reason that they are now high school requirements is so that everyone is college ready, because the A through G requirements are the basic requirements that here in California, the University of California and the California State University system require. So you want to make sure you're on track, that you're completing those A through G requirements, right? Okay, so another big thing, and this is usually one of the first things students think about, location. Where do I want to go to school? For many students, it also means moving. Where do I want to move to? And this is where you should be thinking to yourself, do you want to stay local? Do you want to try something new? City, nature, right? Distance from home. Now, before we go on to that, I want to go like city, nature, those are very different. So I'll share my experience. I went to UC Santa Cruz. It's in the middle of the redwood forest, literally. You're, the fastest way usually to get to class, because the bus is really slow, is to hike through the forest to get to the other side of campus. You're gonna run into deer, possibly, probably. It rains about, I would say 75% of the year. And I mean real rain, not today's light, Los Angeles rain. I mean real heavy rain, rain. If that's not does not sound fun or appealing to you, you're not going to succeed there. It's just you're going to be miserable, right? On the other hand, if you're like me and you love the rain and it makes you happy, and you love that nature, then I did great and I loved it. But some schools, so again, it's all about like doing your research, and we always say like Google it. Go in and start searching at schools. Some schools are in the middle of the city, so if you like that city feel, you want to be able to just like be part of that community and be part of the city and just be kind of where everything's happening. Schools like San Jose State are right in the middle, of the city of San Jose, right? Or campuses like Berkeley also. So another thing to think about, distance from home. How close do you want to be? Do you want to be able to just come home on the weekends and do your laundry? Do you want to just be able to come home on holidays? How often do you want to be coming home? Is it every break? Do you have family members that you are, responsible for, that you want to be part of their care? These are all very real questions and very real factors to consider. Does the college require non-local students to live on campus? That's another good question. So a lot of universities will, if you are a first-time student, they want you to live on campus that first year, generally speaking, because they want you to have that full immersive experience. So again, to a school that you're not trying to necessarily live at, you might want to check their requirements around first-year students and housing. Again, back to that sort of city nature, like urban, rural, suburban. I mean, Santa Cruz is in the middle of the redwood forest, but it's about a 45-minute drive from San Jose, and it's not necessarily super distant. But a campus like Humboldt State University really is incredibly distant. It is far, far northern California. And it takes a long time to get there. And so those are things to think about. Again, weather is really important, and each region has its own quirks and personality. So what do we mean by that? If it's possible, I know right now in the era of COVID, it's definitely not easy to plan some kind of trip. But there are virtual tours, and you can just kind of, again, Google is our best friend right now. You can go and search like community of Berkeley, community of Merced. So you can kind of get a feel around what does the area around the university look like? What kind of events do they have? What kind of options do they have for entertainment, movies, theater, amusement parks, whatever it is that you're interested in. Those are things to definitely look at. All right. Majors offered. So I mentioned earlier that, again, just because it's a big name campus or just because it's your local campus, it may not have the area of study that you're looking at. And that's what a major is. So if you're not sure, your major is basically you decide this is what I'm going to focus my degree on. And not all schools have all majors, and not all majors are the same. So if there's something especially really specific in the sciences and nursing that you're looking at, then you really need to, again, do your research and visit that college's website and make sure that you understand what majors they offer, and if they offer the ones that you're interested in. I do want to say this, most students, I myself changed my major at least 3 or 4 times. And most students do, and that's perfectly normal. It actually shows that a student is fully engaged in their education and they are trying new things and they're realizing what works for them, what they're interested in, and then what doesn't work for them, right? So that's really important. Oh, sorry. So do you know what you want to major in? If you don't, most schools allow you to come in undecided or undeclared, but you have to check. do they have that option? But you can't stay undecided and undeclared for long. Most schools will also give you within a 1 to maybe year and a half time limit to decide what your major will be. If you're interested, if you really want to do hands-on and you want to be part of internships or research with professors, again, that's where like you kind of have to do your research with the schools and figure out, do they have that option for students? Most UCs are research based and have a lot of that, but almost every campus will have some kind of internship opportunity, but some just have partnerships with maybe companies or organizations that you'd like to work with. So for example, if you're interested in automotive tech here in LA, Rio Hondo has an amazing partnership with Tesla. So yeah, maybe some other colleges have automotive, but if you want to go into electronic automotive, right, then Rio Hondo is a great option because they already have that program directly where you'd actually get to work with Tesla staff. So those are things to think about and to research. So again, I told you this is a different kind of presentation because it's really going to be all about like asking you to think about a lot of different factors and what you think and what you will need to succeed. So this is really important. Student and faculty diversity. Why is this important? Because ultimately this is where a student's community is going to come from. So it's important to know what's the ethnic diversity of the staff, what's the gender diversity, how many students are on financial aid, what's the geographic diversity. What does that mean? Basically, are all students basically coming in from the same community, from the same neighborhood? Or are there students from all over the state, all over the country, all over the world? If that's something you're interested in because you want to be around a lot of different kind of people and you want that kind of inclusive community, then that's important to look at. And you can always literally, again, I'm going to always go back to this right now, Google. If you're looking at, a university like Humboldt State, you can literally type in Humboldt State demographics or Humboldt State student and faculty diversity. And it'll start pulling up web pages around what the campus looks like. And so they'll look like these charts here, right? In terms of, the ethnic diversity, the staff diversity as well. Having that representation really helps. And it's also, again, it's important to think about you're going to be part of a new community and we all need community. We all need that support in order to really be able to succeed. So that's really important. So for the next slide, I'm going to hand it over to Miss Kim.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much, Sandra, for explaining the first half of the presentation. So moving forward, we're going to start on the out of classroom opportunities. And you might be asking, why is this important? So it's really important because colleges and universities look for students that are well-rounded. So that just means that they're looking for students who not only succeed academically, but they can participate in activities and work well with others. This all goes back to teamwork, to being able to work with a diverse population. So some things that you can do, for example, is joining clubs and organizations. And there's many that range from musical groups to dance to sports, art. And on the slide, it does say intramural sports. So this means that you don't necessarily have to be on the school team, but you can play the sport for fun. So if you're interested in basketball, you can definitely play with all genders and just play for fun. So definitely make sure to ask yourself that question. What interests you? And does the school provide that? For example, if you're really interested in if you're really interested in dance, does your school have a dance team? Do you have to audition? Can you just join in just for the fun of it? So definitely look into that. I know we are virtual, but every school has a website like Sandra was mentioning. Make sure to navigate it. They all have a club and organizations page as well. So social life. So you do have to consider social life, like on campus versus off campus. Do you want to join a fraternity? Is there alcohol presence on campus? So you do want to have a safe and reliable network of friends that can help you relieve your stress in a healthy way. So if you don't like studying alone, make sure that you consider studying a part of your social life. Meet up with the group, go to your campus's coffee shop, go to the library, or just meet under a tree. So it's very important that you have a strong network apart from home, but at school, because if you begin to feel lonely on your campus, it might negatively affect your academics and as well as your mental health. So we're going to move forward to learning environment, which also connects with those out of classroom opportunities. So with the learning environment, we have to think about do you learn best when you're academically comfortable or when you're academically challenged? So what does this mean? Do you like to be challenged in your schoolwork? Do you want a challenging professor, or do you want a professor that or a university that just makes you do the bare minimum? Do you prefer to be in a small group discussions, or do you like to learn in huge lectures? For example, I was a psychology major at CSUN, and I had classes ranging from 160 students, like in the photo, big lecture halls, but I also had classrooms where there were only 40 of us. So you have to think about that too. How much interaction do you want with your professors? Do you want to, again, do you want a professor that knows your name, or do you want to just turn in the work, learn what you have to do, and go? So also, what sort of balance do you want between studying and having a social life? You have to make sure to maintain that healthy balance. And as the previous slides mentioned that Sandra said, you have to look at the student to teacher ratio. Are there research opportunities? Are the professors accessible to you? Do they offer office hours? Are they constantly offering those research and assistantship opportunities? So in small group discussions, again, I just want to reiterate that a little bit. So this means that the students are going to be expected to participate actively in class and in lectures. I know I didn't clarify that. So just make sure you're aware of what you want. So moving forward, we're going to talk about campus size. So campus size. These are more questions that I want you to ask yourself. Like Sandra mentioned at the beginning of the presentation, we are going to leave you with more questions to be asked than us answering them for you. So we want you to ask yourself, do you see yourself at a college with a lot of students, or do you see yourself in a smaller community? I use myself as an example again. CSUN is one of the biggest Cal states in California, so there were a lot of students all the time. Do you feel comfortable with that? Do you want do you want to be at a college where students stay on campus most of the time? Do you want to live in the dorm? So these are all some things you have to ask yourself as well. I know during these uncertain times, we're not exactly sure if you'll be staying in a dorm or not, but still consider asking yourself that, because you're going to be at this college for 4 years and things may change. So also ask yourself if you want to be around a lot of different people, or people with similar interests. So do you want to be in a very diverse community? This also relates back to your major as well. So if you're, let's just say an engineering major, do you want a strong engineering department where everyone is in same group projects, you see the same people for the next 4 to 5 years? Do you want to be at a school where sports are a big deal, or one that's known for the activism and for its hardworking students? and number of students on campus versus the actual campus size. We definitely have to think about that too. So what does this mean is the school huge and they offer spots and spaces for every student? I know we've heard or we've seen probably a lot of those funny memes like, oh, I've been looking for parking for an hour. I'm just going to go home. So do you want a school that actually offers parking for everyone? Um, so moving forward, we're going to move to the next slide. Hopefully I've offered you a lot of insight where you can just think a little bit more about what you want. Again, I've definitely seen this to be a big factor for a lot of people, the cost of attendance. I even thought about that myself. So what is the cost of attendance versus tuition? So this part is very important. So financial aid. All students qualify for some sort of financial aid, such as grants or loans. So definitely, please, please, please make sure to apply for the FAFSA or the California Dream Act every year. So you also have to think about, do we have the facts about what colleges will cost? Is a student eligible for scholarships? And the answer is provided, yes, you're always eligible for scholarships. There are hundreds of different scholarships available, and not all of them are based on academics. Some are based on gender, they're based on ethnicity, your socioeconomic status, any likes or interests. I've seen a lot of scholarships just based on your major as well. So there definitely is a scholarship out there for all of you. You just have to make it a point to look for it. It does take some time to look for the scholarships, apply, possibly ask people for recommendation letters or to review your scholarship essays. But trust me, at the very end, it's worth it. I definitely found myself saying that at the end of the day when I received a couple of scholarships. I was like, wow, this took me like 2 hours and I got $1,000. That's cool. So make sure to apply for scholarships. Moving forward, will you be able to live at home for a low cost, or will you have to pay for a dorm or an apartment? So you really have to think about it. If you're living at home, are you really living at home for free? Or do you have to pay rent? Do you have to pay bills at home? So encourage your parents to consider that, because in many cases, financial aid does cover some of the cost of living on campus. So why not take it, right? And again, every student's case is unique. So just make sure to review that financial aid package. Moving forward, compare the financial aid packages. So not all schools are going to offer the same amount of money. There are 4 systems in California, so we have to think about it. Some schools are going to offer more than others, and that's just because the cost of attendance differs at every institution. So apply for financial aid first, then worry about the money. Apply for those schools first, then worry about the money, because at the end of the day, you're going to have the opportunity to compare those financial aid packages that you've been offered, talk about them with your family, and see what's best for you and for your family. So next steps. What can I do to explore my options and make the best decision for me? So we're going to see that right now. Okay, so we're going to visit / virtually tour campuses. So when you do that, you're going to see what kind of students are on campus. You're going to get to ask the tour guide some questions, and you can even ask current student questions. I really like this part because current students can bluntly tell you what's the reality of the campus. Sometimes if you're just looking on the website, you'll see what they want you to see. But if you ask those current students, you can say, hey, really, how is this department like? Or hey, really, how are the dorms like? Are they big? Are they small? You can also see what campus life is like. So campus life, again, it goes back to that social aspect. Are you going to like being on campus? And what the different areas of the campus look like. Virtually, those virtual tours, you'll be able to see maybe the main parts of the campus, where students eat, the library, all the different buildings, and you can also see, okay, I'm applying as a psych major, where are most of my classes going to be located at? You can also see what the surrounding neighborhoods look like. That's very important because you want to know what the neighborhood looks like, because you might want to walk off campus for lunch, or friends might live off campus around the neighborhood. So there is a link here that Sandra, I think, is going to put in the chat. And this link is to help find colleges and the campus visit guide. So moving forward, so college search time, these are a couple more links that we're offering you. So definitely make sure to check out these links. You can take a picture of it right now on your screen so you don't forget. But californiacolleges.edu, bigfuture.edu, collegeboard.org, and capex.org all offer you a pretty good array of colleges that you can search and look into. So just make sure that you do your research, and we're going to move forward to the next slide. This part is very important. We're going to help you make your list. So students should aim for applying to at least 10 schools. So include the following: safety schools, at least include one safety school, one close to home, just in case, good chance schools, and reach schools. So I'm going to explain these a little bit more. So the purpose of the college visits and the online research is to prepare yourself to know which schools you want to apply to. So now that you have that, you can see what your safety schools are, what good chance, reach schools. So safety schools are the schools that you know have a high chance of being admitted to. So this means they have high admission rates. Good chance schools are that the student exceeds the minimum requirements, but you may still need to be a bit more competitive. So for example, if you're applying for a Cal State, the minimum GPA is a 2.0. Let's just say you have a 3.0. You know that you exceed the minimum requirement, but some Cal States can still be a bit competitive. In a reach school, the student meets the minimum requirements, but may not be competitive enough, have enough extracurricular activities, or maybe a slightly lower GPA than asked for to be admitted. So remember, I spoke about well-roundedness. They want students who are in extracurriculars as well. So definitely keep in mind this top 10 list, because it's very important for you to have this list and have it narrowed down so you have those options for you at hand. So moving forward, I think Sandra's going to join in with me on this if there are any questions or thoughts.
Hi again, everybody. It's actually just a couple of you, but you're welcome to either ask the questions in the chat or unmute yourself and go ahead and ask in person.